Hi guys, it's me, Gordon from GDUBTV, and today we're outside Heritage Parts Centre where we're going to be collecting some STP soundproofing and insulation for the T6 project. Let's do it. So I'm here today with Spider Lee. So what are we doing today?
We're going to have a walk around Heritage Parts Centre and we've got a few bits to pick up while we're here.
We're just going to be having a little look around the Heritage Parts Centre warehouse. We're going to be picking up some STP insulation and soundproofing, which I'm going to fit back home. So we're not going to do much of a tour here. Go and have a little look inside. So we're inside at the warehouse at Heritage Parts Centre. You can see behind me Stephanie from marketing. Hello Stephanie. And the wonderful Spider Lee. There is tons and tons of racking. This place is huge. It's like an aircraft hangar packed full of VW and Porsche classic and custom parts. So we've loaded all the boxes of STP insulation and soundproofing into the van. We're just going to head home, and then in a few days you're going to see me fitting this. The guys here have kindly extended a 5% discount for you as viewers of the channel, and so I'm just going to share a little bit about Heritage Parts Centre. I'm here at Heritage Parts Centre, who are based down in Brighton in the southeast of the UK. They're a classic and custom VW and Porsche parts company, and they're currently the largest provider of classic VW parts in the UK. As you can see, Heritage are passionate about vintage cars. Heritage Parts Centre, run by enthusiasts for enthusiasts.
Many months later.
So it's now the 29th of February, it's a leap year and we're on the leap day. It's some 3 months after I collected this little lot from Heritage Parts Centre. Now we're actually going to fit it to the van, so it's taken a little while to get to this point. So I'm just going to talk through some of the stuff that I've got from Heritage and STP. They've kindly provided me with these funky gloves. Check these out. So they've got lots of ribs. These are going to be really good for handling the material. They've got a funky STP logo, and then I'm going to show you this. This is actually what they call crystal premium. This is some dense foam, and these actually go behind the speakers. I'm not going to fit these today, but when I do the speakers, which is going to be a video in another few weeks, I'm going to show how to stick these. It's very much just a case of peeling off the backing and sticking it behind, but these are super resonant. The guys at STP have kindly provided me some branded up STP rollers. These are for actually putting down the material. Right, so the first job really is to pull out this ply floor. It's only resting in the van, so we'll just do that now quickly, and then after that we're going to sweep it out and clean it up before we fit. Let's go. Bottom of the van, it's a bit dirty. We don't want to be sticking that STP product onto a dirty floor. The adhesive's only going to really attach to a clean floor, so I'm going to sweep it all out, and then we're just going to give it a quick clean with some, just not even soapy water, just some warm water. Give it a clean, towel it down so that it's dry. So what, 20 minutes later, the floor is super clean. This is clean enough to stick everything down, and we just clean this down using a bit of warm water, no detergent or anything like that. You don't want anything that might react or cause the adhesive not to stick. And then we've just dried it down, buffed it down. We've done the wheel arches, also around the windows and stuff like that, just while you're giving it a clean might as well. If you find any screw holes, if you've had any ply flooring, there's a couple in here, you might want to just give them a little dab of some rust proof paint, something like that, just to make sure they're looked after. But it's not absolutely essential, but obviously that's up to you. It probably makes sense while you're there, but you obviously need to allow that drying time as well. So I'm going to show you how to take off these little plastic clips. They're a bit of a nightmare at first, but once you've done one, they come off really easily. So what you're going to need is a little Allen key and a plastic trim tool, something like that. We're going to want to remove this little plastic fixing, so you're going to get an Allen key and a trim tool, and we're going to put the Allen key just in this little gap here. Then we're just going to lever it open, so there's a big gap that opens up there. Push your trim tool inside and then just lever it out. We've taken that out. We're now going to do that on all the fixings. I won't obviously show you that, it'd be a bit boring. If you want to refit these, reversal of removal, you just pinch this bit in, put it in the hole, and then you push that in, and now that's secure.
The next day.
It's day 2. You can see here that I've already started to just lay out some of the different material in the van, just to get an idea what coverage is for one pack. So the guys at STP have sent me this little brochure, and in here there are all sorts of different materials. Now these materials all have different purposes. There's ones for soundproofing, there's one for acoustic resonance, there's some for insulation, there's some that are more waterproof, There's some that are for truck beds, so there's all sorts of different ones, and they've got these little pictures that show you what you need. They've also got a great website, and on that website you can sort of put in your vehicle. They've got most standard vehicles on there, and they can literally tell you what packs you need to build in, so that's great. Heritage Parts Centre in the UK are a stockist or a supplier of STP products. They've been really great, and have just sort of enabled me getting my hands on all this stuff to try it out in the T6 project, let them know what I think, do this install video, kind of get the product in front of you guys really. I've fitted all sorts of different insulation over the years. You might remember a couple of years ago I did the T5 project, and I used a material very different to this. It was a lot cruder. It was kind of just one sheet that was sticky, and it had a little bit of foam to it and a silver top. A lot of people use that. This is a lot more sophisticated. It'll be really interesting to see how this goes. There's a few different materials the guys have sent me. I'm just going to chat through each one. This is their bomb aero bulk, and so this is a bulk pack. This is what's going to go on the floor of the rear of the van. They come in all sorts of different size sets. Onto this next one, this is what they call biplast. This is going to go on top of this material, and this is basically like a soundproofing layer, and also insulation. This here is accent 10. This has got a waterproof layer to it. This is going to go in the door cards, and it's very similar to that. It's got this waterproof layer on the top, which really helps kind of with soundproofing and also making sure this isn't going to rot. And then just here is very similar to the aero bulk. It's a lot bigger, but it's actually thinner. So when you compare this to the aero bulk, it's about half the width. And this again is going to go in the door cards, this one here. There's this one which is called noise block. This is very flexible, as you can see. It's quite a thin material. They've all got adhesive backing, highly tacky back. I won't take that off. This acts as a third layer that goes on the top of some of the layers. Great for soundproofing. So I've got the bomb aero on the floor. So the main job really is to stick all of this down. We've obviously cleaned the floor. That's all clean. This is one pack. So you can see one pack and half a pack should do the floor. We're obviously going to need to put it on the wheel arches as well. It is malleable, but it's going to take quite a lot of work in. Put one sheet down, and so I'm just going to show you very quickly kind of what I've done to do that. It's actually quite malleable. You can literally just lay it flat over these ridges and then it'll work and manipulate. So I'm just going to show you on this second one. Pull the backing sheet off. This is extremely tacky and adhesive. I've got these little gloves which are actually quite helpful because you need to do a lot of working with your fingers. In an ideal world, what you would do is remove these seats, remove this carpet, and we'd do this all the way through. Tomorrow I'm up to captain seats. We're getting the whole rear of the van carpeted. I'm going to do the front of the van like this separately. So I'm only just doing up to this line. So we're going to slide that in up to there, making sure that's a nice tight join. And we're just going to start sticking this down. Now the great thing about this is it's very malleable, and so that means you can mould it, you can press it down. With the trim tool, I'm just going to make sure that this is lifted up. Where all the little ribs and ridges are, we're just going to push this down. So using this roller, we're going to work in really close. You can see that's already starting to shape and form to the ridges of the van, and we're just going to do that across the whole panel. You really need a couple of you, I think, just so you can take it in turns, because you'll be exhausted after having done 4 or 5 of these. There's a lot of work kind of through your wrists and your forearms, just really having to work this material. It feels like it's going to be really good at doing its job. That's all moulded now to the shape of the van. We'll just push some of this down as well. Now we're basically going to do what we've done with these two here all the way along the floor of the van. There might be a few little gaps where we just need to cut a section and piece it in. That's all pretty straightforward. When we start getting these gaps, you can see there's a few gaps. What you want to do is start cutting these sheets up. Now it's quite hard to do if you were going to just lay that on there and cut it. So once you've peeled the backing off, the best thing to do is just use this paper, literally use a Stanley knife. You can just quickly make a template like I've done here, and then I can peel this off, and then I know I've got a template here which I want to use like that, because that's going to stick down that way, and I can just very easily cut through the shape that I need for that hole, and then that literally goes in perfect, no stress at all. Much easier way of doing it, and then just give that a little roll. So we also want to do that in these sections here. I've already done it just in that section there, and as you can see there, we've pretty got most of the floor done. We're just going to give it a bit of a roll, but that's looking beautiful. So if we have a look here, there's this awkward looking shape. I'm just going to show you how I'm doing it. Just one way of doing it. So we're going to put this down, and I'm literally going to follow the line. Right, there we go. That's the template. Cut that out with some scissors. The good thing about this is once you've stuck your template on, you can actually use scissors to go around it. It's quite hard work, but it's easier than using a Stanley knife. And then that way you can just fill in the little gaps a lot easier than if you were just trying to lay it in on top. So that's all cut out, you can see. And now this will just literally drop in there. Perfect. A lot easier than trying to faff about. There's a little gap there, but I can easily just pop a little line in. And again, we just give this a good little roll down. Make sure it's all stuck down. See, we've put all this on the floor. We've not actually been sent enough to do the floor and the sides. So firstly, we're going to need to do the sides just because when we get the carpet lining done, it's going to cover it all. And so we've got this first one, which is the aero on the walls and the sides. You can see here, we've covered the wheel arches. If we have a little look at the sides, you can see they've all been done. All the loading doors have been done. So that's great. And now next up, you can see there's this one, which is the accent. And so this is a thermal and waterproof one. You can see it's just, again, adhesive. It's nice and squidgy, foamy, and this just literally goes in and sticks on. You obviously need to cut it to the right shape, so I'm just putting it in and then running a Stanley knife across that, and we're just going to, again, put this on top. This is a secondary layer going over this first aero one there. So we're going to crack on with that.
A few moments later.
That is pretty much the end of this video. Check this out. So we've got the floor, got the first layer on. We need to get some more from Heritage Parts Centre and STP, just because there wasn't enough to cover it all, but there was enough to fill in all these gaps with the second layer, which is the thermal one. And so that's in all of the doors. You can see that there, both sides. That's amazing. Obviously the ply is going to cover that, going to get carpeted. You'll see this bit get finished when I do the floor. Do a separate video on ply flooring just to talk about that. It's very straightforward. But guys, that's it. Kind of STP soundproofing and insulation finished. We'll see another video when I take the front seats out. I'll just do that little bit and I'll do the doors as well. But I just want to say a massive thank you to the team here at Heritage Parts Centre. These guys are kindly extending a 5% discount using the code GDUBTV at checkout, so don't forget to use that. If you've enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.